All right, what's going on, boys and girls? So this particular video, be talking about the whole argument of there's no professional applications for Linux. So when I say professional, I mean proprietary. When I mean proprietary and professional, I mean ones that actually have a company backing them that people can call for support. So if you're a floss, OSS loving person only, this video will have no interest for you, so you can hit the door and don't let it hit you in the fucking ass on the way out. Because I don't give a shit. These are those type of alternatives. These are presenting what you guys like to talk as choice. This is giving people more choices on my preferred platform, which is Linux. Novel concept. Some people just want support that's not community based. Totally fine with that. So first up, we have my preferred alternative to the Microsoft Office stack of things, or the Google Docs stack of things, and that is WPS Office. Interface is newer, the compatibility is better than LibreOffice. I hate to break it to any LibreOffice fan. Import very customized things from Microsoft Office. LibreOffice breaks it 99% of the time. Just saying. There are other alternatives to this. StarMaker Office is another one. This one, however, does not require you to give an email to actually download it. That is the biggest perk. And it doesn't have some of the limitations that the free version of StarMaker has, which I can't remember off the top of my head was the actual name for it. But there's that application. So next up, we have photo editors, Lightroom alternatives. Now, Lightroom alternatives on Linux are actually really, really good. But some people still want that peace of mind of calling somebody on the phone or, instant chat and that kind of thing. That's totally fine. Not everyone is going to be a Darktable, Lightroom, or Light Zone or Raw Therapy kind of person because it doesn't offer that. So Corel bought a company that used to make one called Bibble. Now, Bibble 5 was the last version. That became Aftershock Pro. And Corel, to their credit, yes, this is the same Corel that made Corel Linux, has continued to support and update that version of Aftershock. Really good piece of software. Price tag is not absurd, especially in comparison to what you would pay for like the Adobe Creative Cloud crap for just Lightroom. So, and this is an outright purchase. So $64. Next up, video editing. Video editing is a sore spot on Linux. Microsoft, Windows, and Apple have two very standard applications when it comes to video editing for the most part. You have Adobe Premiere when it comes to Windows, and you have Final Cut. Apple keeps dropping the ball on Final Cut, and Premiere has its own stack of issues, i.e. mostly price tag, etc. DaVinci Resolve is available on Linux. Got the support aspect. The best color correction on any platform, doesn't matter. And they have finally fixed the installer for the most part, so it's not god awful to get running on other distros besides CentOS and Red Hat. So just my take on that. Continuing on video editors, let's talk Lightworks. Lightworks is legit probably the best one to buy outright, because the nice thing is you can buy this outright. They have very flexible payments. You can do monthly. You can buy a monthly license, a yearly license, or you can buy it outright. Any professional application that allows me to buy it outright, I will gladly support. So props to Lightworks and the EditShare folks for doing that. They have fixed a lot of the UI problems. For those that say, oh, Lightworks hasn't been used in a film in 15, 20 years. If you actually get your head out of your ass and actually listen to the actual editor of The Irishman. Yeah, that Martin Scorsese film on Netflix, that was edited in Lightworks. So, yeah, it doesn't get used in professional applications. Idiots. Let's move on to the next one. Digital audio workstations, DAWs. There's a dime a dozen. as far as availability, Linux alone, you have for commercial ones, Reaper Renoise Traction that I can think of off the top of my head. Those are all great, have different workflows, etc. The one that a lot of people that I talk to that are musicians, etc., for a DAW is they come back to Bitwig. This is available on all the major platforms, and one that constantly gets recommended that if they can't use, take your pick on Fruity Loops or Ableton or whatever, this is the one that a lot of people will gravitate to. And the $400 price tag for a outright purchase is not overly terrible as for a professional grade software like that. Next up, if you're into animation and all the others, 3D modeling, etc., a lot of people will tell you use Blender. Blender's a great application. I love the fact that a lot of companies are getting behind it now. Ubisoft, Epic, etc. Cool, awesome. This is about commercial support. Maya is essentially one of the industry standards for 3D computer modeling and animation stuff. What do you want me to say? People are coming from other other platforms. If they're gonna be in an industry and the industry offers the standard, why am I not gonna give them the standard? It's just stupid. So Maya 3D from Autodesk is available on Linux. The $129 price tag, I mean, it is what it is. CAD software, AutoCAD. There is Linux alternatives. Obviously, you'll have Blender, which does 3D modeling. But you'll also have LibreCAD and a few other different CAD applications that are open source available on Linux. This particular one is BricsCAD. And the cool thing with this is very industry focused. So like this $1,400 one will give you specifically one designed around architects and engineers and stuff. There's a 2D, 3D version, which is like a basic version for $410. Like, these are not bad pricing for professional grade applications. So next up we have Nuke. This is like Maya. This is the industry standard for compositing effects in movies and video games and a bunch of other stuff. You can run it locally. If you want to spend $4,000 on an application, that is your prerogative. But again, it's an industry standard, so why would I not give the industry standard if it's available on the platform? I would recommend Photoshop if it was available on Linux as an application, but it's not. So then you do have to look at alternatives. But you will get the industry standard with the industry support. And that is tremendously helpful for people coming from other platforms, because the applications are the things they care about. Next up, speaking of not having certain things on Linux, we don't have a good open sourced Microsoft Visio alternative. I've tried them. They generically are limiting in some way, shape, or form. eDraw Max, hands down, if I would use this on Windows over Visio personally. That's just my take. It's available on Linux. If you want something that is totally just as good, honestly, my take, as Visio, this is probably the best application you can find for it. So if you're looking for a Visio alternative on Linux, here it is. And next up, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, you have to pay my money. Oh, well, I just use my online banking account. Oh, or, X, Y, take your pick. Personally, for me, I don't actually use this application. I'm a home bank user because that's all I need. But the nice thing with this, which is Money Dance, is this allows you to pull in all your online bank account stuff for balancing your books and stuff. For a lot of people really does matter. And Intuit doesn't exactly provide, shall we say, great Linux support for any of their applications. So I would recommend Money Dance. It's a $50 purchase. It is well worth it just for the online bank account integration. So yeah. And then next up, now I do this weird thing. I'm a Linux guy, so I tend to kind of scoff anytime I hear antivirus. A lot of people, however, will, especially in the Linux land, will say ClamAV. Nothing wrong with it. But if you are looking for professional support, call it whatever you want, or a phone number, I'm going to recommend ESET Nod 32. Now, here's the reason I recommend ESET Nod 32. Virus Bulletin, I believe .org, does tests constantly that for hieracoustics, exploits, malware, 0 days, etc. For detection of viruses that are out in the wild. Nod 32 had constantly performed in the top branch of that. ESET was so good at one point that Microsoft was using it internally because their own products were crap. Like, this is a lot about when your internal teams are using a third-party product because your internal stuff is terrible. Just saying. So if you're gonna do antivirus and you need commercial support on Linux, Nod 32 all the way. And that really is it for just, these are very basic recommendations and apps to look at. But for people to sit there and say there's no professional applications on Linux, I already named 3 industry standard apps that were in here. So yeah, there's plenty of professional applications that work on the platform. You just got to look to see if they actually work on the platform, which shows to me that a lot of people who there's no professional applications on Linux are just lazy and aren't looking. So what are some of the professional proprietary applications that you guys use where the support does matter to you, as opposed to like the community support, like actual paid support matters to you? Comment down below. Let me know. You guys know what to do. Any Gala Patreon, all that jazz down below. Catch you on the flip. Peace.